everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about the different types of businesses and what matrix are your investors looking for. The best way to evaluate your matrix is how are you planning to charge your customers and what exactly is your business models. What people often mistake is they focus on the industry that they belong to, either it's pharmaceuticals or F&B, etc. But that's not how an investor is evaluating you. They're evaluating you strictly based on the business model that you have and how are you planning to charge your customers. On the screen you see roughly 9 kind of business models, and your business model will mostly fall into these 9 brackets, or if it doesn't fall into any of this bracket, investors call it a star shooter. So I'll walk you through each business model, and I'll talk about 4 matrix that are important for you to account for. Beyond 3 to 4 matrix at a startup point is really pointless to want to evaluate at. So the first one is an enterprise business model. And enterprise is fairly simple. It's when you're trying to provide a product or a service to a large scale company. Very few startups are in this space where right at the start you're planning to provide a product or a service to let's say like an Apple or a Google. The way an enterprise business model works is through contracts. So you would be getting into a contract with, let's say, Facebook for an X amount of time or an X amount of service or a product that you're providing to them. Hence the 3 matrix that you're evaluated on is your total number of bookings, your total revenue, and the number of customers that you have. The difference between booking and revenue is that let's say a Facebook must have booked a contract with you, but till the money hasn't reached the bank, it's not really considered as a revenue. So when an investor is looking at you, they are not looking at the bookings that you've got, but they're looking at the revenue that you've actually generated. The next type of business is a SaaS business model. SaaS is software as a service. The transaction in this happens mostly in the form of a subscription, so that is your form of trade. Probably the most common type of business model amongst a lot of startups. And the 4 matrix that an investor looks when you have a SaaS business model is MRR, which is your monthly recurring revenue, ARR, which is your annual recurring revenue, gross MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. Churn is nothing but your revenue at the beginning of the month, and paid CAG is cost per customer acquired through paid marketing channels. So these are the 4 metrics that are accounted for if you are a SaaS business model. The third type of business model is the subscription business model. Now this is very similar to SaaS, but this is subscription as a service. Why is it similar to SaaS and slightly different is because we do measure monthly recurring revenue as a matrix to evaluate how many people have actually continued subscribing every month. This is example is Netflix. MRR, CMGR, which is compound monthly growth rate, is essential to calculate. It is a significance of how many users are you getting month on month. User churn is total lost consumers. So paid CAG is again the cost that you've spent for acquiring each customer. A transactional company, the best way to understand it is something like a PayPal or a Paytm, which enables financial transactions on behalf of a customer in return for a certain amount of fee. A lot of fintech companies and payment companies are in this space. And the simple 4 matrix for a transactional business model which an investor would evaluate is the gross transactional volume, is the amount and the money that you have worked with in a given period of time. The net revenue is how much money in transactions in a given period of time you've earned. User retention is percentage of customers who go on to make at least 1 purchase in a month, and your pay CAG is again the cost of acquiring each customer. Next is a marketplace. A marketplace could be an Amazon or an Airbnb. What a marketplace does, it connects the buyers to the sellers and takes a certain percentage out of the transaction. The four metrics that an investor would look at for evaluating your marketplace would be a GMV, that is your gross merchandise value, how much money is being. Net revenue is obviously after all the transaction and your enabling fee, how much money have you made in your bank. Net revenue CMGR is compound monthly growth rate, is how many users are actually coming on to your platform. Your customers in a marketplace are also your sellers, so how many sellers have joined you, and what is the average ticket volume, has it increased. The next is e-commerce. E-commerce is fairly simple. You're selling a product online under your brand. Metrics to test for an e-com platform: your monthly revenue, which obviously is the total revenue in a given month, your revenue CMGR, which is compound monthly growth rate, how many users are actually joining your portal and how much is your average ticket size. Gross margins is how much of the transaction is actually your net revenue. And the fourth is your paid CAC, which is your cost to acquire a customer. Next is an advertising company. Fairly rare. An advertising company you could think of like a Twitter or a Snapchat, where they are providing a free service to the consumers and making money from the advertisers. People are actually showing ads. In a company like this, most important thing about your business is your users. So while evaluating the matrix of your business, there are only three things that are very, very important about a user, which is your daily active users, the total number of unique users active in 24 hours a day, your monthly active users, which is the same thing, just calculated on a monthly basis, and your percentage of logged in. A hardware company sells physical devices to either a business or a consumer. Again, it is close to an e-com company. Think of more of Fitbit, your mobile phones. These are the hardware products that you're providing. Four metrics to evaluate your business is your monthly revenue, the total revenue that you earn in a month, your compounded monthly growth rate, gross margins, and paid CAC.